Welcome to part two of breaking down Allan Parr's straw man defense of Charlie Kirk. Now, before we continue, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP The Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. I'm going to continue breaking down Allan Parr. He's a very popular Christian YouTuber. And I'm emphasizing these words because he has, like a lot of other Christian YouTubers, as well as Christian leaders, as well as Christians, and I'm going to say conservative Christians, evangelical Christians, who have, for some reason, exalted Charlie Kirk as some type of symbol, godly symbol, which I cannot explain or understand why. And so we're breaking down his argument, Allan Parr, in which he is now taken upon a mantle. Now, again, I told you about this brother here, right? Mike Winger. Here's the interesting about Mike Winger. He he didn't even know Charlie Kirk, and now he's on the Charlie Kirk bandwagon. And again, so my question for Christians, this is not a general question, however, because we're dealing with Allan Parr. But my general question for Christians is why? Why is this so important? Now, again, I know who Charlie Kirk is. And my thing is, he's neither here or there as far as the kingdom of God is concerned. So, what is the true symbolism that they are upholding, that they are showcasing? I can't, again, I'd say that it's views on one part. You get a lot of views on that side. Just like you get a lot of views when you're positive, you produce positive content for Trump. And now what has happened, of course, is, and I'm going to say this, the powers that be, right, whoever they are, then have pushed Charlie Kirk up. And again, it's a symbol. Now, in part one, Allan, and I'm not going to show it because I'm right at the part where we're gonna go back to where we stopped. But in the beginning of his video, he plays this kind of montage of black civil rights. He starts off by saying, "I'm a proud black man." Okay, and then he plays these clips of Martin Luther King, the civil rights struggle, right? Drinking from the segregated white and colored water fountains. And what's the amazing thing is that he's now defending a man who trashed that, who was anti that. He's defending. So here's my point. I just don't know why. So what is so important about Charlie Kirk? Now, as a human, again, he's neither here nor there. He was a successful on the social media. And he was successful. Okay? He was successful to he was successful in his social platform, and I'm going to say this, anti-black. Now, he's going to defend what Charlie Kirk said. He's going to defend when people criticize what Charlie Kirk said, the response. One of the first response was, and we left off there, where he criticized, denigrated 4 highly educated black women. And so he played the clip of people responding to that. And then they're saying, it's a lie. But here's what Allan Parr didn't do. He didn't talk about the lie that Charlie Kirk said about Joy Reid, the late Sheila Lee Jackson, Ketanji Jackson, and Michelle Obama. All 4 highly educated women, more educated than Kirk. Allan didn't defend that. he defended Kirk saying those 4 women didn't have the brain power. Those 4 women took spots from more deserving people. See, he denigrated 4 black women. That's what he did. And let's put it like this. He denigrated those 4 black women. So the straw man argument was to say, well, here is this black woman who says, Charlie Kirk said that me as a black woman is not qualified. Okay, good. And I remember I told you, and I'm gonna use this kind of throughout. I told you about an interview of Ike Turner, who was Tina Turner's husband. And if you know anything about Tina Turner and Ike Tina Turner, and there's a movie out, and it was very violent. According to the movie, Ike used to beat the crap out of her. Well, in an interview, he said this. He says, "Well, the movie mischaracterized me, right? Well, see, he mischaracterized me. I didn't hit Tina 5 times. I punched her 2. Let me tell you, I didn't punch her 5 times. I punched her 2. So that your straw man argument is, see, they lied on me because they said I punched her 5 times. The truth is I punched her 2. And I use that in a comedic way in Allan's defense of Charlie. He's not racist, but yet he denigrated 4 highly educated women and said they're worthless. They're not as good. They took white people's spot. So we're going to continue on with the video. And he just did Sheila Lee Jackson. And here is the part where we're going to pick it up. He says, and watch this. Here's the clip. This is Allan. He says, this is now Joy Reid admitting that she is a proud product of DEI. So what? So by the way, just so you know, DEI, and this is what Kirk, again, attacked. What's always interesting is that they put DEI, which means diversity, equity, and inclusion. And again, the reason why we need those programs were needed is because white people did not hire diversity. You can go pretty much, in most companies, you see a lack of diversity. And so Allan, who played the clip, he played the clip of Martin Luther King in the civil rights struggle. See, that was the product of it. Kirk said that struggle was it was a huge mistake, the civil rights bill passage. All right, here we go.
As many times as I have been called DEI or an affirmative action baby and all that, you know what I never get? Mad. Because I actually am very much in favor of DEI. I don't take that as an insult because I understand that means that I'm just damn excellent and innovative. And yeah, I am DEI. I'm bringing diversity, and that's bringing something great. You're not insulting me. If you say, oh, you're an affirmative action person that got into Harvard, I'm like, yeah, I got into Harvard with affirmative action, and Yale, and Brown, and also, Vassar, in the University of Denver.
Okay, so be as turned off.
Well, why don't you defend it? You're defending Kirk. Come on, why don't you comment on the fact that Kirk just said Joy Reid is worthless? Those are my words. See, that's my response. So you could strawman that and say that's not his exact words. That's his method of defense. But what he said is that, okay, you played the clip as if she's admitting she's a DEI, that's a bad thing. So tell me what's bad about it. How is she not qualified? She listed 3 colleges and got 3 college degrees from 3 different colleges. How is that a bad thing, and how is she not qualified? And then why is Kirk attacking her, a black woman? But you're going to say he's not racist. You're going to say that's the lie, that he's not racist. Then, okay, tell me why she is unqualified. He attacked her. Your guy, your symbol, attack this black woman, let's say, tell us why she's not qualified. Tell us, by the way, tell us why Kirk is right. Hey, right on. He's right. Tell us why he's right. You're defending, you're saying it's a lie to say he's not racist, and yet you play the very clip where he is disparaging a black woman who is qualified as being not qualified and her worth.
As you want to be about what you just saw. All right. You don't have to agree with what he said. You don't have to like what he said. You can be as completely turned off as you want. You can think he's arrogant. You could think that he could have said it a different way. You could quite frankly say that he didn't have to say any of those things at all. You could be completely offended that he said that. But what you need to do is you need to pay attention to what he said and what he did not say. He did not say any
straw man. Watch the straw man here.
On this clip, as some have suggested, as the younger black woman in the earlier clip suggested, that black women in general, all black women do not have the brain processing power that white people do or anything like that. He never said that.
But he did say it about those 4 black women, those highly educated 4 black women. See, again, let's go back to Ike Turner. I didn't punch him 5 times, I punched 2 times. What are you defending? What is Christian about what he said? So you said truth in the earlier part 1. You said truth. We're about the truth. That's your straw man. Well, he didn't say that all black women. Okay, fine. He did say all black women. Now tell me why you're defending that he said those 4 black women. And how is that Christian? You're holding them up. Why is that Christian to you? Why is that godly to you? By the way, and I know you didn't say that. But why? What's the point of defending this man?
I just played the entire clip for you. He specifically mentioned 4 black women out of millions of black women of whom he has strong disagreement with.
But yet you know better that if he's attacking those 4 highly educated black women, that a lot of people are going to take that as representation. Because what you're not going to talk about while you're defending this white man who is disparaging these 4 highly educated black women, it'd be the same if someone criticized a person, an atheist, who disparaged Christians. And you take one Christian and you disparage them and painted everybody as a Christian, as worthless, as a kook, as they do. The straw man here comes back to why is it so valuable, so important to you to defend this man?
Political and policy standpoint. Let's be honest, he does not agree with their policies because he's Republican and they're Democrat. He's more conservative. They're liberal. He does not agree with their policies.
You just contradicted yourself. That's an untruth you just told. He told you what he said. He said they are not qualified. He didn't mention policy. He didn't mention policy at all. He said those 4 black women, they are not qualified. I'm going to paraphrase because I know you could straw man this, but I'm going to paraphrase. He says those 4 women brag about being affirmative action and DEI. And then he said, we know because you didn't have the brain power. You wasn't smart enough. So you had to steal a white person's job. You're being disingenuous, Allan. And for what? Why are you defending this man? See?
Clearly does not care too much for these 4. So he shared his personal opinion of these 4 women who happen to be black. Not one time did he make a sweeping generalization about all black women. He mentioned these 4, I keep saying, out of the millions of black women in the world. 4. Now, once again, I'm not saying that I agree with what he said. I'm not saying that I personally don't have respect for these 4 black women myself. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying I don't have respect for Michelle Obama.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you? Why? I mean, here's the thing, though. Why would you defend him for disparaging? And I'm going to use your method here because he's going to say this. I could say, and I'm not. You know how some people will say that, like right now, you're cooning, that you're an Uncle Tom, right? Now, I'm not saying he's that. I'm saying other people say that because of this method that he's doing. You see how that goes right there? You see how that, I don't use those terms. And seriously, I don't use those terms. But some people do make it hard. But I don't use that term. And I'm really not even accusing him of that. I think, by the way, it's the bandwagon. He had the white audience, and I think my personal opinion is that he had the white audience and that he's appeasing that white audience. And that's why you have people like Mike, Mike Winger and other people that jumped on the Charlie bandwagon. Yeah, it's a white thing. And then, by the way, then you have the millions of white evangelical Christians who are now symbolizing Charlie Kirk as, and again, what? What are they? What is he a symbol of? See, what is he a symbol of? And now what you have is a person like Allan Parr who has to make this straw man argument to defend and say, see, they're lying on him. And yet we hear his words. Then you got to come back and go, well, no. You're, again, anyway, let's play because...
I'm not saying any of those things. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and let media spin a narrative that is simply untrue and to make it out as if he said something that he did not actually say.
I'm going to say, so what? Why do you care? Why do you care what they say about Charlie Kirk? Why is Charlie Kirk so important to you? Why is Charlie Kirk so important to white evangelicals? Why is that so important? So what? They said that. And notice what you're not doing. You're not dealing with the truth of why he attacked the character and the worth of 4 highly educated black women. You don't mind him doing that. You're fine with that, even though you say, well, I don't necessarily agree with it, but you don't mind him doing that. But you're going to, oh my God, if they say any wrong thing about, Charlie, I'm going to come to the defense of Mr. Charlie. I'm being funny there. Those of you that know that phrase know what I mean by that. But I'm being funny. But why would you? Why would you come to the defense? What is so important about this that you have to say, I have to clear the air? I mean, if I think about if somebody said, some atheist said, that the Bible is wrong, I can see you getting riled up and say, the Bible is true. Here is why I believe that. Jesus was a liar. And people have said this. Okay, here is the truth about our Lord. Here's the truth about the apostles. Why is it so important to you? Why is it so important to you that you have to defend this man? Even though, guess what? He's saying the very things that people made objection to. You're saying, let's disregard that. As long as you don't say, and these are the lies. Okay, here we go.
He never said all black women. Now, I could go into a whole lot more detail. I could talk about, well, if he believed that, then why was one of his best friends Candace Owens black? Why did he hire so many black women on his staff? Why did he have these minorities?
Well, first of all, how many did he have? You keep saying that he's talking about the Turning Point had black women. By the way, have you ever heard the testimony of black people that worked there? I have. Okay, you say that Candace Owens was his black. Why did he have Candace Owens? I can answer that. The reason why Candace Owens was such a good friend is because Candace Owens not as bad as you, Allan, but Candace Owens was the queen of anti-black. And that's why people liked Charlie, liked her. She was the darling of Fox News, remember. She was the darling of the conservative movement until she spoke out against the Jews, and then they cut her loose. But as long as she was speaking anti-black rhetoric, hey, everybody loved it. That's why. And as far as programs, you're going to say, well, I don't have to say anything about the program. Okay, fine. Okay, so what? By the way, LBJ, who signed the Civil Rights Bill, was a racist. Okay, he was a racist, and he signed the Civil Rights Bill. LBJ was a racist. Again, straw man arguments. That don't matter. Thomas Jefferson. Okay, we can go on. Who hated blacks? Who thought blacks were inferior, even though he loved them some Sally. Thought slavery himself was bad. Think about that. We can go on and on, but it's a silly comparison.
Summits and things like that, and specific programs within Turning Point USA, specifically designed to help those who are minorities and things like that. I could go into all.
Okay, well, go into them and tell us, how did they help? For example, Candace Owens' Brexit. How did that turn out? Okay, I mean, again, there are plenty of races that give money. There were races that gave money to Martin Luther King. There were races that give money to Jesse Jackson. Stone racists. And again, so what?
That, right? But, and by the way, usually people who are racist don't do those types of things. But the point is,
absolutely not true. I should have waited until you said that and then just show you. That's just simply not true. I told you LBJ was a racist, and he did good. Ronald Reagan was a racist and signed in the Martin Luther King, holiday. I mean, that's the silliest argument right here.
He did not say that. All right. Now, I'm going to bring this home to you because over the past roughly 10 years or so, I have been in countless conversations with my black friends. So I'm just going to put it out there. OK, who have made similar and, might I say, even more offensive comments about white politicians, particularly one in general, President Donald Trump. And I've heard them all. I've heard people say that he doesn't have the brain processing power to be president, that he is not a very bright man, that he only got into office because he was white, that if black people did what he did and had the history that he had, then they would have never been able to get in. But the only reason why he got in was because he was white. I've heard people say things like he has the vocabulary of a fly on the wall and things like this. And people have said all kinds of things about Donald Trump and his, what they perceive, inability or not being equipped or not being smart enough or not having the brain processing power to run our country. And not just about him, about all kinds of other white politicians. And isn't it interesting that you make these comments about another white person or a couple of white people, not all white people, but
let's stop and deal with this because straw man number 2, right? Well, this person said it, right? And Charlie Kirk would use this. Black people own slaves, right? Black people own slaves. They were black slave owners. And they say that as if making that statement erases the white racism and slavery. But here is the false comparison. Charlie Kirk said it in the context of race, social justice. People say it because they feel Trump is all of those things. Now, are there black racists or people that are prejudiced? Yes, there are. But what's the point? You're talking about Charlie Kirk. So does that make Charlie Kirk right in his disparaging of 4 black, highly educated women? Straw man argument right here, see? What are you defending? Remember, you're saying you want to speak the truth and you want to get to the lies. right? Well, when people said those things about Trump, were they lies? Are they lies? Okay. Everything that you just said that people say about Trump, were they lies? Now, let's come back and talk about the stuff that Charlie Kirk said about the 4 black women. Did he lie? But yet you want to show the clips where people say Charlie Kirk said all black women are lies. Then that's the heel. That is your straw man, strong argument that you're going to now propagate the truth. You're going to stand up to the truth and show the truth. Why? Okay, it's silly. All right, here we go.
Make these comments, but you won't consider yourself to be a racist. You won't consider yourself, you will not hold yourself to the same standard that you're holding Charlie Kirk to, because he made a specific comment within a context about.
What was the context? I know I'm interrupting, but guess what? What is the context? Now you're hiding behind your straw man argument. What is the context? He said the comments in specifically the context of race. That's why he said that. Affirmative action. Black people are benefited from affirmative action, and it's unfair to white people. That's the context that he said it in.
4 black women who he strongly disagrees with from a policy and political standpoint.
That's just a lie. He attacked their character. He attacked their worth. He attacked their value. He said they were not good enough. What was the policy you disagree with? Okay.
You don't see the hypocrisy in that? So let me be clear. I'm not defending the content that Charlie Kirk said in this clip. Is it crazy?
You are absolutely defending the content. You're defending him. And you're defending him to the point that you have to create a straw man to try to destroy, to say that people are lying about him. That's what you're doing.
I have to keep saying that. But I am defending the context in which he said it and ensuring you that let's just look at what he said. So to wrap this first issue up, if you watched that clip and you came away with the assumption that the man was racist, well, either A, you didn't watch the clip at all right, or B, you saw a portion of the clip that the media cut and spun specifically to get you to believe the narrative that it wants you to believe, because they have an agenda. And more than likely, a lot of the people that are texting me and emailing me and things of that nature, they've never even heard of Charlie Kirk before a couple of weeks ago. They just saw a clip online and made an assumption. Or C, you watched the entire clip, but as he said, you do not possess the brain processing power yourself to properly interpret what was said and what was not said. Now, before I leave.
So let's talk about that again, this defense of Charlie Kirk. Now, your third option is that because people criticize him, we're watching your clips that you showed. First of all, remember, so based upon what you showed, we can say he made racist statements. Let's kind of go back, and again, because you said you presented him. Why would he attack? First, he's attacking affirmative action in DEI. And then he's attacking 4 black women who said they benefited from affirmative action. He then comes along and says, Charlie Kirk, that they don't have the brain power for highly educated. They don't have the brain power to achieve. They don't have the brain power. And because of their lack of brain power, this affirmative action, which he is disparaging, this affirmative action made them steal a white person's job more deserving than they. So let's say, why is that racist to say? Because here are 4 highly educated black women. That's of no value to them. He played the clip. You said that we don't have the brain power to process your clip. So that's what they said on your clip that you posted, you just played. Joy Reid said, hey, she's got 3 degrees from 3 college education, but Charlie says that's not brain power to him. They're not worth that. So what are you defending? See, what are you defending, Allan Parr? Why would you have to defend that? All right, let me see if I can close this out here, and then I'm going to go to part 3.
At this point, let's look at another clip where he actually interacts with another black woman, and you tell me whether this sounds like things that someone who is racist or against all black women would say. Let's check it out.
Now, I'm going to play this clip, but this is, again, one of the most silliest clips that you're going to see. This is a straw man, too. Let's show that he's friendly and smiles at a black person. Okay, let's play it.
How are you? What a beautiful kid that is.
Thank you.
What a gift from God.
Yeah. She truly is. She is the biggest blessing. Something that kind of has me like on the fence of whether or not I go kind of like full blown more like conservative or moderate is just seeing how
Give it up. That is a gift from the Lord, everybody. That is just beautiful.
I see that, we're starting to save a lot of money from things such as like Doge, but do you think that some of that money should
First of all, what money is she saving from Doge? Okay.
back to maybe like reforming the way that welfare is done to help poor families who do want to kind of pursue that American dream?
Great question. The number one objective of any social welfare program should be, how do we keep the family together?
Now, let me just say this. He's not going to say black. But just keep in mind, more white people are on welfare, more white people on SNAP, more white people on the food assistance than black people. But watch what he says.
And put dads back in the family.
Okay, so now he talks about putting dads back into the family. See, that's the black face that he's putting on welfare. And by the way, he's getting ready to make some statements where black kids are growing up. The majority of black kids are growing up without a father. Even if they're unwed. Look, there's a study that showed that black men are more involved in their children than white men. How come, Allan? That's okay. Why don't you amen that, Allan? But the fact that you said, okay, now how many black people are on welfare, Allan? But now you see the black face that's being put on here. I'm going to go back a little bit and then let him play. Here we go.
But do you think that some of that money should go back to maybe like reforming the way that welfare is done to help poor families who do want to kind of pursue that American
They mean black
dream?
families.
Great question. The number one objective of any social welfare program should be, how do we keep the family together and put dads back in the family? Unfortunately, in the black community, dads are the most absent of any community. About 2/3 of all black.
Absolute lie. They're not married, but that doesn't mean that they're not active in the child's life.
Will be raised without a stable father around. And I know it's crazy, right? And that little precious angel of yours deserves to have a father around. And unfortunately,
Is that woman married? No, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Is she married? Right?
As we've removed dads from families, government has come in and has taken the place. So some people need help and they need social assistance. All of that should be about incentivizing the dad staying around, not the dad leaving. The Democrat Party does not talk about dads at all. The Republican Party, we are talking about how men need to be men again, in the home, take responsibility, provide.
I can say a lot about the men part, okay? A lot about the men part. Men in grinder, Republican men in grinders, but okay.
Your family and with strong.
And by the way, let me just say this too, because again, if you trash an entire group, but mass shooters, think about this, mass shooters, what color are they? The percentage, the higher percentage of mass shooters, and these are people that grow up in what you would call the epitome of white homes. The alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk grew up in the epitome of the white home he's talking about. Mother, father, children, dogs, guns, lots of guns.
Families come smaller government and a better country.
If you watch enough of his clips and just stop looking at media, what you'll see.
I'm going to stop there and I'll pick it up in part 3. and because he's not finished. But I'm going to pick it up in part 3. And again, you see the straw man arguments that he's breaking down. And the biggest, to me, offense of all of this is you rather defend that and not defend. And I'm not saying he has to defend black people to stand up for black power and all that kind of stuff. But you were the one that said you had a mission that you want to dispel the lies and the truth and all that. Anyway, let's pick it up in part 3, and we're going to continue. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. I mean that. See you in part 3.